Welcome to The Girl Herd,
where we talk Texas football.
and a bunch of takes you've probably already heard.
But not from us.
Welcome to The Girl Herd. We are so excited to introduce our Straight from the Coach series. For the next 8 weeks or so, we'll be inviting Texas high school football coaches on the pod to share about their day in the life, their perspective on the game, and what goes into prepping student athletes for the next level. I'm super excited to bring you our first guest for this, which is my boyfriend, Frank Wilson. He's the wide receivers coach at North Shore High School in Houston, Texas. Frank, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, first off, of course, I represent my city. I love Houston, Texas. I was born in Houston, right down the street, actually. Every time we pass it, I mention it. Greatness. Um, I've been coaching now, going into year 16, made several stops. My first stop was actually at my own high school, 2008. And then
Which was
to
what?
grow, Dayton High School, sorry,
Okay.
Dayton High School, Dayton, Texas. And then 2009, huge opportunity, had to move back to Marshall, Texas, which is where I went to college. Went to a small private school, East Texas Baptist University. Um, Played football there as well, but went to Marshall, coached there for 4 years, coached varsity for 3 of those, coach receivers, kickoff return there, punt return. We did some very special things there. Then I made the move back to Dayton to join in with my group again, the same group that I had my first year. And that was awesome. I was there for 8 years and we did some amazing things there as well. And then it was time for me to grow again. So I went to the rival right down the street, which is Crosby, which is crazy because we did not like each other, when we played one another. But they were like, "You coming?" And I said, "Absolutely." Um, Again, did amazing things there. Played some really big games, coached in some really big games there. And then moved to North Shore, which is also a great opportunity. So uh, going into year 16, and I don't feel like it at all. Like it goes so fast. It goes so fast, but so slow, but so fast.
What position did you play when you played back in the day when you were in high school?
Got you. So mostly receiver, but a lot of quarterback as well. It's crazy you asked that because in college I was like the trick play guy. Like I would catch the ball and then throw it, or reverse and throw it, and so it's funny you mentioned that. Punt return, kick return, of course. In college, I didn't have to do punt return too often. Thank baby Jesus, because it's
Save your
crazy out
life.
there.
Save your
It's
life.
crazy out there. But kickoff return, I still had to do. But kickoff return is a little different, right? People block for you on kickoff return. Punt return,
Not so
and
much.
so a little bit of safety as well on passing downs in high school. College, not so much defense. Every once in a while, like on the punt team, stuff like that, but hardly ever any defense once started playing college.
Where'd you go to college?
I went to ETBU, which is in Marshall, Texas. That's kind of how I received the job at Marshall because while I was in college, I was going and help there when I had free time and built great relationships with the coaches there. And so when I left, they were like, "Are you going to come back?" And I'm like, "No." But then varsity opportunity came and I was like, "Yes." Like, my second year and you're talking varsity football, like, yeah, man, let's go. So, um, again, like we made it third, fourth round a couple times, and so I thought that was the hype. Besides, going to state with a few teams I've coached with before, and they just really brought me in and taught me a lot about football, and so it also allowed, whenever you get a varsity spot early, it allows for you to always almost get varsity spots or at least leadership roles that allows you to coach varsity, even if you are coaching a middle school or a ninth grade team.
And what is the biggest difference from playing versus coaching for you?
For me, the preparation, like when I was playing, like I could just watch film for maybe 3 hours and I'd be like, okay, I got this dude. You know what I mean? Or I better bring my stuff. Well, even when you know you're quote unquote better than the opponent, you're still up studying. Like you're waking up at 5 o'clock to get just some kind of hint or some kind of advantage over your opponent. Um, and then, like oftentimes with preparation for football as a coach, um, you're doing it individually and then go in and bring it to the group. And when you were playing, it was all like a group. So people are talking, you're hearing this, you're hearing that. And I love my lock-in mornings. Like I wake up super early in the morning and it's quiet outside and I can just do my 2 hours or an hour of just by myself. And in college, it wasn't like that because we didn't have all this cool technology like the guys have now. Like I was bragging on a couple guys at the University of Texas actually because the defensive back number 5, I can't think of his name. I think Muhammad maybe. He's calling out plays while the offense is running plays. Like I wish we had that kind of stuff when I was playing because literally you learn so much from watching film. Like all coaches will tell you, like, if you're not as good as your opponent, that film can help put you, bring you up and even you out a little bit. And so you're always just trying to find that edge to, be better than the other team.
I think
So,
we can kind of hear like your passion behind like coaching football. What is your favorite part about being a high school football coach?
well, first off, we coach in the best state
Yeah,
in
we do.
the country. Like it's not even a question. We coach the greatest kids to me in the country, like literally. Also, I think that the college coaches that are big time aren't too cool to reach out. They're not too cool. Like I've received emails from you guys' school, like, "Hey man, you need to come to this. Hey man, you need to come to that." Like the SEC thing that's about to happen on June 30th, I believe. June 30th. They sent an email like, "Hey, you need to come. Like, come join us." And so like the camaraderie of all the coaches in the state of Texas just makes it almost to where like it's like a brotherhood, even though you don't know that guy really, but they act like they know you, and it's awesome. Like getting to go to clinics and walk on the field, like learning the coaches, learning the players, like getting to talk to the players, just interactions that like I've met Nick Saban because of Texas high school football. Like that's my dude. Like that's my favorite coach ever. And I got to meet him because of Texas high school football. Like, of course, I wish he would have brought his butt to Texas, but he chose not. But I mean, it's a whole different animal, man. Like people, like when you go to other states and like when we go to Mexico, people are like, Texas football. Like, yes, bro, Texas football. It's pretty awesome. Come to a game. They don't believe when you say, hey, man, 25,000 people were there, 30,000, they don't believe it. And then you show them a picture and they're like, wow, that's pretty dope. So it's Texas. Like I don't even know how to explain it. It's Texas high school football. That's
Everything's better in Texas.
1,000. 1,000.
Bigger and better.
Absolutely.
One thing that I wanted to ask you, Frank, because I was telling Michelle and Angie about it actually this morning in preparation for this, is like your playing career, because I know you actually started as a sophomore. So what are your thoughts on kids who are starting in the game later? These days there's a big conversation out there around things not being as accessible. Even basketball is not as accessible anymore, just due to like travel squads and the costs, etc. So you came in late to the game and found success. Talk to us about that and like what advice you have for kids who are maybe starting out in like the 8th grade, 9th grade, and after.
The first thing is play all sports, do them all, and figure out which one you really love. Because, like for me, I didn't love football until I told you like around 98, the Ricky Williams time, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so about 98 is when I started realizing like, okay, man, like I can really do this. I had a cousin who played for A&M that played in the league for 10 years. And he just was like, bro, you got it. You just got to do it. Like, you have to work. You have to put in the work. You have to put in the work. And I was lucky enough to have an older brother who played quarterback. And so he brought me along. He made me do push-ups every day. He made me do sit-ups every day. He had me running tires, curling bricks, like doing all kinds of crazy stuff. And I didn't realize how important it was to train, like really to lock in on, all right, Frank, you say you love it. Get your butt doing this. Hey, you say you love it. Get outside and hoop. Like, you say you love it. Go play baseball. Like, it was just never stopping. Like, it was always. I had an uncle across the street, and he said, "Boy, either you're gonna be a preacher or you're gonna do something with your sports." And I'm like, all right, like, I'll take either one of those. And so, of course, everybody thinks they're going to the league, right? And opportunities did come, Senior Bowl and all that stuff did come, but Frank Wilson was done with playing football. Like, it was no more for me. Like, I had to super work to even keep up with those type of caliber of players. And I'm watching them like having fun and stuff, and I'm work, just to make sure I'm as good as them, And so I would say find your passion, and then when you find your passion, put in the work that makes you better than those other guys. And you may not be better, but the best you. Does that make sense? Because I mean, there's always going to be Xavier Worthy's, right? Right. Yeah, I mean, it's just going to be a guy that runs a 4.2. There's nothing you can do about that. But you can be stronger than Xavier Worthy. You can work harder than Xavier Worthy. You can be smarter than Xavier Worthy. Or you can let them keep outworking you. Which one is it going to be? And so for me, like, I was super blessed to have a coach that believed in me, a quarterback that just snatched me out the gym one day. I'm in there hooping, and we start throwing the football around, and he's like, "Bro, you need to come play, like, right now." And I go in there, I talk to my coach. I'm not going to say whose name. And he's like, "Frank, you'll never play for us. You'll never play football in Dayton, Texas." And I'm like, "What? Like, who are you talking to?" And it was like, oh, here it is. Like, because I had done so well in basketball, he didn't know that I could flip it. Well, receiver is basketball in many ways. It's pivots, it's crossovers, it's jumping up, catching the ball, right? Rebounds. It's getting a body off of you, blocking out to catch the ball. Like, it's all of those things. And I knew, like, my little 6'1" skinny self. I was 6'1". I've been 6'1" since 10th grade, by the way. I knew my little 6'1" skinny self could do it. And yes, I thought I would be 6'4". I really did. Did not happen. Um, and so I would say work harder than everyone else. Find your morning time. I have morning time. That's what I call it. But find your time when you can get out and or get locked in on something mentally, physically, like that first 48 that I do every morning. Like, in the morning, my first 48, by the way, is like I do 48 curls or 48 overhead press or 110 push-ups or 210 squats. And it's just like a thing, like, I'm getting better than somebody at 5 o'clock in the morning. And I clown about OBJ and LeBron because they are like the body type, right? They have the bodies that athletes want to look like. And so that's why I say I got OBJ and LeBron this morning. I say that almost all the time, right? And so outwork whoever it is, outwork the person that you look like or the person that you want to look like. Outwork them, and great things will come from it.
You instill that drive that you talk about with a generation that is big on instant gratification.
Yes, yes. And um I'm blessed enough to have, like, literally amazing talent in my room. And those guys are so talented. Yet I know at about 6 o'clock, 6:30, they'll be right back on the grass, getting it in again, one-on-ones, two-on-twos, combination stuff. And they're doing that on their own. And these are guys going to the Bamas of the world, the Penn States, the Oregons, like those type schools. Yeah, we don't get any love from y'all yet.
That is a
But
key word. Yes, we're
yeah,
changing this.
yeah. But these guys, they're, I motivate them, they motivate me. You know what I mean? They motivate me because they're little young kids, and they already know I better put in this work. They already know I better be on huddle tonight. Like, they already know, hey man, if I don't do this, this guy's gonna be better than me, and I might be sitting over here, you know. And so it's do, and iron sharpens iron, right? And so instant gratification is like, I know what you mean, but I don't see it as much because I've worked with such great kids for so long. You know, like I've had some kids that are spoiled sometimes, but for the most part, all of the kids I've been blessed to coach have worked their little butts off. Like, and I see it. Like, I see these veins start popping out. I see these circle muscles start happening. And I'm like, yeah, bro, I told you. You know what I mean? I saw one of my like super skinny kids the other day. He was a skinny little freshman. And he was like, Coach, how can I get to be about your size? I was 195. And I was like, bro, put in the work, make no excuses, and eat. I just saw him pull 730 pounds or something the other day, like 730. And he only weighs 215. And he pulls 730. And I'm like, the proof is in the pudding, man. Like, that's only 6 years ago. 7 years, sorry, 7 years ago. I was thinking 7, but 7 years ago, he was a skinny little guy. And now he's pulling 730 pounds, starting at linebacker for Davidson. How crazy is that? And he's clearly smart. He goes to Davidson.
Yeah.
Great kid, like great kid. And so
Love
instant
that.
gratification is not real to me. It's not. It's continuous growth.
So you talked about a few coaches and you've thrown out some colleges. Of course, we want to get to that, but I do want to know, what coach do you want to follow or like want to mimic in their coaching style?
Got you. All right. So I think, of course, like I love the way Nick does discipline, right? Probably the best discipline of college football players I've ever seen. But I think as the time has changed, I have to change, right? I don't have to change philosophy. I don't have to change what I believe in, but I've pulled back a lot with a lot of discipline things. Still like hands behind your back, still heels together, still straight lines, still turning at the same time, all of those things. But everything doesn't have to have a consequence to it all the time. You know what I mean? So a little bit of Nick, a little bit of Sark, a little bit of I can't even think of his Urban Meyer. Urban Meyer is kind of like the first coach I really started noticing. Utah and Florida, when he had those guys just smacking everybody. Florida was just winning SEC after SEC, and then Bama came along, right? And so a little bit of just stealing from those guys, because to me they are like the pinnacle, right? They're the best. Texas didn't go out and get Sark because he was bad. They went and got him because, hey, we need to start getting some natties in here, right? Alabama speaks for itself. I mean, I think that man has what, seven? Like that's crazy. And then I think Urban won like 3 or something like that. I think I'm not 100% sure because that was a while back, right? But just listening to those guys and stealing from those guys, and then bringing them to my own programs. And then I've seen like just you don't want to talk about wins and losses, but I've won a whole lot because of those things, like just instilling those things in the program, instilling those things in my position, which is receivers, right? Making sure that those guys are aligned with what the team's mission is every year. And it just pays dividends when you put your head down and you get to work. Like, you don't talk about it, you build about it, and then the kids just follow because they know, like, coach is not changing, so I might as well change. And they don't realize I've changed. Like, they don't know Coach Wilson from 2008. That was a whole different kind of Coach Wilson from the one now, right? The 2008 Coach Wilson was out there, look, I'm going to show you one last time, right? Now it's like, we'll get on the film and I'll check it out for you, bro, so you can see what I'm asking you to do. And of course, I can still do a little bit, but not 2008, you know? And so less of the loud and crazy and more of the teaching, you know what I mean? And I've noticed that both ways work. And sometimes, yes, I still get loud and crazy, but with the kids that I've had in the past few years, like you didn't have to get loud and crazy because they were already self-disciplined. Like they want to be great over and over again. So you don't really have to chew them out too often. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, that's great because you're adapting as well, right? So
You have to. I mean, that's one thing I will say that I've learned. Like these coaches that are winning right now, uh, the Harbaughs, even Saban has calmed down a lot from what he used to be, right? Sark, uh, the coach for USC, I really like him. Had a kid that just graduated from USC, actually, Taj Washington, but Coach Riley, Lincoln Riley, like he's chill, man. He's just looking at the little paper and coaching his butt off, and that's it, you know. And so different strokes for different folks, but I'm learning how to do both, I guess you would say.
What do you think makes a good coach?
A good coach. Energy, lots and lots of it, as I just woke up from a nap about 30 minutes ago. Energy, passion, number one, which is for the world, love, right? Um, making sure that parents know that when their kid goes to you, one, he's going to be loved, but he's going to get coached up, and he's going to get coached up tough. Like it is what it is, right? And I think that's what makes our young men and women more successful is love, but tough love too, you know. And then just the care and the passion. I mean, that's really it, I think. Of course, getting in the film, right? Making your brain better than everybody else's are trying to. Um, just I think putting in the same amount of work you would have wanted your coach to do for you. And I've had some great coaches and I've had some bad ones, but learning from those guys and then implementing the great things they did and then cutting away the bad things. You know what I mean? And but the main thing is just love and caring about the kid.
Yeah. Well, have you pivoted with the transfer portal and the way that that is shaping college football and recruiting?
You know, I like it and I don't like it. I like it because it allows for a kid to go maximize his potential at a school in which he feels is great for him, right? And then I don't like it because some people are just abusing it. Like, I don't like it here, so I'm leaving, you know? And so I like it and I don't. I want kids to go be successful wherever they feel that they can go be successful at. And I'm saying kids, these are grown men. Like that's what we have to understand is they're making decisions that are based on them. But like in big time college football, they're making decisions based on how can I do this for my family, right? And so we have to realize like it's not our job to figure out why this kid is leaving and going here and going there. He's doing what is best for him and his family, and that's it. You cannot be worried about what that dude is doing because he knows what he's doing most of the time. He's trying to provide for his family.
all right, Frank, you're on a podcast with a bunch of Texas Longhorn lovers.
Facts.
Who who is your college team of choice?
So it's been Bama, right? Because I love Nick Saban. I really think the boy is great as well. Don't get me wrong, but it's not Nick. So right now, I have two teams that I hope win, and then they can play it out. And then when they play it out, may the best team win. And so I'm not telling you who they are, but I think you know who they are.
How long before we get that hat to be a Longhorn hat?
Yeah.
Good luck, Holmes. I'm from Houston, not Austin.
He said he'll consider a black and white Longhorns one the last time we were at the co-op. So maybe, but back to that game. I'm assuming it's the one on October 19th and it has to do with one school named Georgia. And
Okay,
one
so
named
uh,
We're not
Uh,
letting you get away with this, Frank.
I love, okay, like, of course, I love Kirby because he's like a disciple of Nick, right? He's done it his way and he's been very successful with it. Um, I guess that would be three then. There's three teams that I want to see win, but not Georgia as much as the other two.
So when will you be making this decision?
7/26/24.
Oh,
Yes.
before season. Okay.
Why
Yeah.
that date?
Huh?
Why that date?
Because someone great was born on that day.
Ooh. Okay.
Yippee.
Okay.
Does his name start with a Frank and end with a
I
Wilson?
Self-proclaimed birthday.
And it's on Saturday. So if you see me in a red jacket, that means I chose the red school. If you see me in a black jacket, that means I chose maybe your school. And if you see me in a same jacket that I wear when I'm repping for my Alabama Crimson Tide, then
Are you
you'll
having
know.
a commitment
Yeah,
style birthday for
have
a
to.
team?
It's on Saturday too.
I love that. Okay, well, who do you think is the sleeper for college football this season?
Oh man, I don't really get to watch college football as much until like November, December. When you say sleeper, you mean like a team that was not great last year and could be great this year, or do you mean like sleeper to win the whole thing?
Sleeper that wasn't good last year that could be good this.
Oh, easy. I forgot about these guys. The team in Boulder, Colorado. I forgot about Colorado. Colorado, I think they only won like 3 games last year or something, or 4 games or something like that, maybe 5. But they started off hot, right? 3-0, and everybody's like, woo, and then whatever happened happened. So I would say Colorado. I can't see them uh losing more than 4. Like honestly, until playoffs. Playoffs, I don't know, but losing more than 4, and I don't know. Like I know 12 get in, but I don't know how that would work if you lose 2 in that conference. I know in the major ones you lose 2, you're probably still getting in, right? But I guess if they could win all except one, they could get in and make some noise because they
Someone
recruited really well. And I believe in Prime. That's my favorite football player ever. So I believe in what he does. I'm reading his book right now, actually, and it is amazing. And so I believe in Prime. So I think him and Shador will get some things going.
Someone was actually just talking about Colorado today. So that's a very good pick because I feel like they came out of the gates, made some noise, and had a tough season. And then the off season has been like extremely shaky for Dion personally, one of his sons, and the media for like not the best reasons. And then also like thoughts around the program, but somebody had just picked them too. So they had the same line of thinking as you, Frank. And I can't remember right now, but obviously U of H is right in all of our backyard. So it's going to be super fun when Coach Prime comes to town.
Right. Yes, I think it'll be great. I mean, that quarterback is good, man. He's really good. And that's funny you mentioned that because he talked about that in his book. So good stuff, Ms. Danny.
Okay, I
Good
have
question.
another thing. So a lot of this podcast is to re-engage like female fans or engage female fans in football. What is something quick, easy that people who are just getting into learning about the sport that you can tell them on the offensive side of the ball to get them geared for the season?
If they know nothing about football at all, you mean? Like if it was like me trying to talk to my mom about football?
Yeah, beginner tips.
So if it was that, um, that's tough. Uh, I would say find a team, find a team that you love, and one that you would say, um, like I would tell my mom probably the Buffaloes, right? Because I know she likes Dion. So that's I would say find a coach or a person that you like, and then start following. And then like as far as learning the game goes, I would say only start with like quarterback first. Like, don't try to learn the game because like it's it's a lot of moving bodies, right? It's a lot of moving parts in football. Like even when you go on air, it's a lot going on. And so I would say like find a quarterback that you like, or find a receiver that you like, or a coach that you like, and just watch the game. Like don't try to break it down yet. And then once you find that guy that you're like, okay, I like this kid, then start trying to break it down from his perspective and then go further into it. Basketball to me is so much easier to understand than football, like because it's almost the same thing over and over again. And football, like I don't even know how to explain it, but it's never the same unless you're just dominant. It may look the same, and then you're like, oh, that's not even what they're trying to do, And so find a person that you like first, and then start breaking down. Like, let's say you like, I don't know, Quinn, right? Watch that quarterback over and over again. And then when Arch comes in, watch that quarterback over and over again. And then when Trey comes in, watch that quarterback over and over again. Just learn that position. You know what I mean? And then start trying to learn, okay, why is he doing this? Why did he throw to this kid? Why did he hand the ball off instead of throwing it? That kind of stuff. And then just slowly but surely you'll start picking up like, oh, he did that because that guy stayed over there. You know what I mean? And so I think just watch one position at first.
I like that tip. I feel like that's actually how I really started knowing the game myself. I spent a ton of time picking it up more in high school. Like I remember being super little and the Oilers were on, and truly, I was maybe like as young as 5 and 6, and I just saw a pile of dudes, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. But then whenever I entered high school, I spent a ton of time watching the Eagles because
Yeah,
T.O. was just such a personality. My dad
right.
was watching football all the time, so I started watching him. And then also Randy Moss. So those two receivers. And so then what happened was I hated running backs because every time they would not throw the ball, I'd be like, oh, all of these short runs, what's going on? I want to see big explosive plays. But
Right.
I
Right.
think that's really good advice in terms of like how you can start to understand the game and get to know it more.
Isn't it crazy you say that? Because now running backs are like not being paid as much as the other guys.
Right.
And so now you love football because they throw the ball all the time. It's crazy because I'm a receivers coach, right? But I love running the ball. Like, of course, I want to see my guys get the rock, but like, I love running the football. Like, that,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
Love has evolved. Her love has evolved for football.
Yeah, yeah,
Well, it's all about what people want to see, right? And to your point, Frank, it's really funny that you mentioned that because right now there's like a huge conversation going on around the WNBA and like Caitlin Clark and all of those things. And not to get into that, but more so they're comparing like when Michael Jordan came into the league and how they were doing the same thing, being super rough on him and all the tough fouls to sort of intro him to the league. But then what ended up happening was the same thing that happened to Tom Brady. And they were talking about this on ESPN today. Tom Brady like messed up his knee. So all these rules were created around like what could happen in the game. Same thing with Michael Jordan. And so to your point, like the games are meant to be advanced and grown. And so, yes, I mean, sorry for our running backs. Shout out to Bijan and all of our RBU that we have. But yeah, there's a reason for why the game has kind of evolved into what it is now and spread out more.
that running back room was crazy. That running
Mhm.
back room was crazy.
For sure.
So tell us a little bit more about North Shore and how you hope this year goes for you guys.
I mean, I know this sounds like so cliche, but just stacking days. You have the guys, you have dudes, I mean, they're awesome kids. They work hard, they practice hard, they fly around, they listen. Like it's honestly like you just keep stacking days. Like you don't even try to think about the whole thing because you don't want to get ahead of it, right? Of course, it's in your head, but when you're working and speaking and talking to kids, you don't talk about it. You know what I mean? You just keep getting better daily. And so I'm gonna keep that at that for the podcast, if that makes sense to you.
We can't get too much information.
I
No,
know.
no. I think you know what I'd love for the end goal to be. I think you know that.
any coach's goal, right? For their going into their season.
Of course, of course.
Let's be honest. Like
Let's-
going into this, I was like, I mean, Frank already knows, but like the city of Houston, we're counting on North Shore to take down Dallas. Like this
That's
is year
true.
in, year out. Like we are counting on you all. So we are going to hope for the best, and we're really looking forward to the outcome of the 2024 season, which is great because there's some key Dallas opponents. And I think that's one of the biggest things that I'm excited to see for North Shore this year, because, you all will get some of that travel element early in the season. And I think it's important, because if you wait all the way until the end and you're getting that type of rep in, it's a different feel for a player. And anyone who played getting into larger stadiums, different stadiums, takes you a little minute to get in that groove. So I think it's good that that stuff is on the schedule for you all.
100%.
Yeah, we can't wait to show up and be loud and wear red
That's what I'm talking about.
We're
I'm
black.
talking-
for high school.
Huh? For high school, of course.
For high
Yes,
school.
yes. I know y'all not switching up on that team. I know that.
Well, we look forward to come watch you at North Shore this year, and who knows what could happen in your season. Also excited for you to continue coming to UT games with us, and we are going to make you a Longhorn fan yet, and get you maybe some burnt orange, but I'm okay with starting with some black and white Longhorn stuff.
I
Hey,
feel like
it's-
there's some bets in our future. Like they're
Yeah.
Hey, it's funny because of course I love Sark, right? So like I see him in his black all the time, and I'm like, yeah, bro, that's pretty sweet. Like that dude knows how to dress. Of course, him and his lady are always fly, and so
Yeah.
it's funny. That's funny.
The reason Frank will be a Longhorn fan, the fashion.
Right.
like
Right.
red carpet. Here we come. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate your time and all of your insight. And stay tuned for next week and the next coach that we bring on.
All right.
Right.
Thanks, Frank.
Yes,
Thanks,
I do.
Frank.
We appreciate
Hook 'em.
it.
Hook 'em.